He is very conscious of making his customers aware of his dedication to things going right.
In the end, it's the perception of value or transfer of value that really makes a business survive or go away. You can't even say it's the actual value or the entity that gets transferred between parties. Two individuals could satisfy each other's needs, perceiving value in their discussions and thoughts, with not a single item transferring between the two. And that relationship is a valuable, equal relationship that will continue on forever. Perceived value is all that really matters. No matter what you deliver, good computer service, excellent backup, great response time, it's all meaningless if the person who matters on the other end doesn't perceive the value to his life. I won't even say his organization. And when you get to the level of understanding that what a person wants and perceives as a need is all that matters, that's when businesses begin to work effectively. That's when a business continues to move forward and grow and thrive. Much of the problems I see in business, and I saw them in my own business, and they always show their face in my own business, is where we think we're delivering value, but that value is wasted because it's not perceived as value on the other side. So we'd all be much better if we could put ourselves into the place of the receiving party and see how they see the value that we think we're delivering. Without perceived value, you don't have a business transaction. You don't have a social transaction. You have no relationships.
His ideas are not generated in the way that people perceive them. They're not generated as he sits at a desk or watches a show. I mean, he sits at night for hours and hours reading through books on, not networking, on business, economy, the economy, just everything you could possibly imagine a person could know, need to know or want to know to make good decisions, good business decisions, good life decisions. He sits and grinds this stuff out and nobody sees it. Nobody sees him from, his 6 p.m. to 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. rather is just, him just grinding through books. Keeping journals, writing down logs, writing out schematics and spreadsheets and, the next idea.
We actually were just talking about this on my way home from school in the car the other day, that we both have different but similar learning styles and how everybody has a different one. I've always noticed that he writes everywhere.
All meetings are done in notes, all meetings are done on flaps of whatever random book he happens to be reading. Will he ever, a meeting I had with him last week at his house, he wrote on whatever book he was reading, the jacket of it. I don't think he'll ever see it again or ever know what we discussed.
We don't take it into the shower. Well, actually, Brandy does. Brandy studies in the shower, which isn't that weird to me because I used to put in college, my notes into cover slips and tape them in the shower so they didn't get wet so that I could study too. But my dad actually uses crayons, those children crayons for the shower, so I do think that the shower is where you think the most, where it's quiet and peaceful, especially for a father of 8 kids, so I could see where he would decide that that was a great idea. I just wonder if he comes out and then writes it all down on paper and copies it. I don't really understand.
He's the type of guy that I've never seen anyone, you go to his office, there's more books, that are read, completely read, cover to cover, than anyone I've ever seen. And you open the books and they're all underlined, notated. You can tell he's done a lot of work. So he applied all the, this interest or hobby to his own business, learning about computers and networking and everything. The same way he did to learning economics and finance. He probably knows it better than I do, and I studied it formally in school. So it's pretty interesting to see someone's passion for learning and always adapting.
I do a lot of thinking, and I think one of the big problems in the technology business is it moves so fast that you never have time to think. You never have time to look ahead. You have to work off of projections and things that other people present. I've been very lucky to have a company and people that allow me that time. So when many people think I'm idle, I spend much of that time thinking, and most who know me closely will tell you I spend all of that time thinking about what's going to happen, worrying about it, but not really losing sleep over it.
My dad's crazy. Yeah, he thinks too much about things. He'll spend too much time on something that doesn't really need to have time on. Like, he'll take more time, like, thinking and trying to figure it out.
I think if you ever watched me running around the house trying to find where somebody left my flashlight, or why the alarm won't set, why I could make mountains out of anything, there's a piece of me that always likes to figure out root cause, meaning what caused something to happen, whether it's a misplaced item, car doesn't work, or somebody did something wrong in my house.
He has 1 million flashlights. It's one of his collection. He like collects flashlights. So if he can't find the one he's looking for, he'll freak out. Or his nail clipper. If you take his nail clipper or his stapler, he will flip out. He writes his name on most things. Anything from a camera to a stapler.
I, from day one, loved tools and taking things apart, breaking things, seeing how they worked. I'd collect TVs and tubes and open them up, break the vacuum tubes and look at how they were structured. Part of that got me into some trouble with my father, probably my mother, but she never yelled. And I would take things apart. And apparently the story is I took one of their watches apart. And it's pretty hard to take a watch apart even in 1958 or 59 when you don't have really small screwdrivers. And I didn't quite get it right putting it back together. I grew up being yelled at for everything that ever broke in our family's home. If it was missing or broken, I was the prime suspect, even when I didn't do it. Somehow, and it's funny to this day in business, because my biggest personality issues are I don't have a thick skin to failure. If I get blamed for something I didn't do, I go crazy. But this inner piece of me to try to fix things, make it right, and not fail is the engine. It's the engine to not fail for a customer. It's the engine to not fail making a payroll. It's an engine to not fail for my family and my kids. It's something that is probably the biggest struggle I've ever had. You know, it's taken a long time to be able to live a relaxed life or a better life. For all I've accomplished, flying, traveling, doing the things I wanted to do never came easy.
As long as I could remember from when he was like so young, he started taking people's TV sets and radios, and he was young. I don't know what was he in junior high? I don't even know what he was in. He was fixing things all the time.